Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to Roots and Refuge Farm. So today is one of those days that there's a ton of activity going on in our workspaces. Will and I are about to jump in on starting a project, a couple other projects in the works, and I'm going to let you guys kind of be a fly on the wall. Alright, here's the clue as to what we're doing today. These are some T-posts. When we got our farm, there was a whole bunch of fencing that was in pretty rough shape, and we saved all of the T-posts to repurpose for this purpose using in the garden. We spray painted them because they looked really, really bad, plus this is fun. We use like Rust-Oleum spray paint. Alright, Maya, what's up?
Fixing a mistake?
Yep. These beds had started to lean, so Jeremiah and Wes are out here reinforcing them. The poles weren't deep enough, so now they will be ultra fortified.
They will be ultra fortified.
Alright, so Will just brought these things out here. These are some different cuttings and seeds that I was given at Baker Creek. I have several different things that came from a couple different viewers that came out to meet us. What are you most excited about of that stuff?
I don't know, either the lotus or the chayote.
Yeah.
I don't know if this will produce if it has a long enough growing season. We'll see though.
We should have a long enough growing season.
Yeah. I think this is considered a perennial. I thought it was.
So we need to put it somewhere where it can stay.
That perennial vegetables book. Mm-hmm. But the lotus, I think you can eat the root.
I know she said you could eat the seeds. She wrote it in the note there. Yeah. Alright, over here we got Mr. Jesse Powell working on finishing out the pavilion that Jeremiah got from a local mill. It's what he did the treehouse playhouse in, and it's what Jesse's using this and doing all around. I think the edges, it'll also go up on the inside. So Jesse actually did our pastor lives in a log cabin, and he did all of the woodwork on the inside. And so we had seen how great his work was, and he actually works with our contractor and is working on our downtown locations also. He's been doing work down there, and so Maya hired him to finish out this pavilion. And once the pavilion's done, I can bring all my pots in and kind of get it all set up, all the decorations and wind chimes hung. Alright, so we are actually going to be hanging up trellises, and then a lot of these beds need amended, but I figured we'd hang the trellises first. Alright, I had to go grab a hat because it's very sunny. Keep the sun off my face. Alright, let's get started. Hey look guys, we're about to have dragon tongue bush bean. If when they stand up it's their birthday, we could say that these are in the process of being born.
Walking on beds, no! Committing a garden sin.
I just told Will, I did have a reason, because I was telling him earlier, I was like, no, I think we need to hang the trellises before we amend the beds. But I couldn't remember exactly why I had decided that. It's so that we could walk in the beds and not mash down the fresh soil. I'm gonna have to have a step ladder. It's the first arch trellis in the new raised bed garden. It's glorious and very tall with these tall beds. I'm gonna need a ladder in my garden. Well, I needed one last year anyway because that okra got so high.
We could just work together and he can go down on all fours.
You didn't sign up to be a step stool.
I thought I said what?
Kids.
Shoo.
That's children.
Thank you, darling.
That does look really nice.
You know what? I just thought about the fact that I was looking at this thinking now it looks like we're growing T-posts. I've been
It is starting
telling.
to look like your garden though.
It is. I've been telling the joke about growing T-posts and cattle panels for like at least 5 or 6 years. And I'm not over it. I'm just going to keep using it.
What do they call that? It's not a dad joke because you're not a dad.
A mom joke?
You gotta be more creative than that.
Alright, Will just ran down with the skid steer to get more cattle panels. And I'm gonna set out some more T-posts over here. I have a couple of places. I have a whole row of garlic that I plan on putting a wall trellis up there eventually, but I probably am not gonna do that right now with the garlic being in the ground. It needs some more time. And then I have a couple of pieces of panels that currently have sweet pea flowers growing on them, and they just started blooming. And they have the non-sprayed T-posts. See, there's no blooms on these. There's some blooms over there on the one by the onions. I'm gonna leave these for now, and once I'm done with the these sweet peas, we'll pull these trellises out. But yeah, I'm gonna do a few arches here, and then a couple arches in between each one of these beds. So eventually there will be another wall trellis right there, which is gonna provide a little bit of privacy in here and make it feel a little more hemmed in, which is something I really wanted to do. Specifically, I wanted there to be walls here that kind of block off the house, the cars, and all of that. And I don't necessarily want to block a ton of the view going this way, because obviously I want to be able to sit here and look at it. So right now we're just using zip ties to secure the trellises, these cattle panels to the T-posts. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to keep this arrangement. If I like the layout, I could potentially just leave the trellises where they are, and then we'd use something like hose clamps, just something that's a little more permanent. Zip ties do have a tendency to break down, especially somewhere so hot and sunny as South Carolina, but you get a good season out of them. After a couple seasons they will break, but they'll be fine for this first year, and then that way if we want to move these trellises around after this year, it won't be a big deal. And if I like where they are and I don't end up really wishing one space was more open or whatever, we'll make them a little more permanent. Alright, I'm going to show you guys this really quick. This is super simple, but I know sometimes it helps people to see things. I'll talk about a TP trellis, and this is a really easy way to trellis a lot of things. So a lot of my cattle panels originally, like when I first started, were scratch and dents that I would get where the feed store, you know, one would have gotten gnarled in transport, so they'd sell them to me for like $5. And they weren't always fully usable because there would be parts of them that were damaged, and that's how we kind of originally came up with this. But you just take a panel and cut it into thirds, and I like to take the cut in where it's got some prongs here and stick that part into the ground. Just makes it easier because it's sharp. These are going to be about 3 feet apart from each other. You could go wider. The wider you stretch them out, obviously the shorter it'll be. Oh, these pieces are uneven. Oh well. I'll probably press this down a little bit further. But yeah, then you just connect them at the top, which, because these are uneven, I'll probably connect it here instead of, if they're even, then you pull them together here obviously, but just use some zip ties on the top. And you have this, you know, A-frame shaped trellis that you can plant at the bottom. It's really good for things like cucumbers, a lot of peas that are kind of runners, beans and stuff like that. Not necessarily pole beans because they get a lot taller than this, but like runner beans that are partial runners, like dragon tongue bush beans would do well on this. They do run some. But I specifically like this for cucumbers and cucamelons. That's what I'm going to put here is cucamelons. Alright, my camera's starting to overheat, so I'm going to have to turn it off. You guys get the idea. We're almost done with this side. I'm not doing the other side today because they're working on those beds, so we'll hang those later on in the week. Will just ran down to the barns to get 4 more panels. I didn't have this plan exactly nailed down before time, so I didn't have like a solid count. And I also wasn't sure what all we had because we have like all the panels we used last year in storage, and you know, different ones we've made animal pens out of, like we didn't buy any new panels this year. This is all reused stuff. So we're putting up 4 more arches and then looking for the pieces of, like, we have a little teepee that we made last year for cucamelons, so I'm gonna put that in here. But yeah, almost done. Feels like my garden again. Also, it's really not terribly hot out here today. It's like 80, I think. But it's just sunny and no clouds, so it just kind of like bakes you after a second. Of course, I'm wearing a black shirt, which doesn't make it better. It's just really thin and breathable, and so that's why I wore it. But anyway, y'all could probably smell me from wherever you are. All right, y'all ready to see the finished product? Here we have it. They're quite a bit taller with the beds being so much higher, because these beds are about, I think, 10 inches deeper than my old garden. It's pretty exciting. Imagine coming through here. There's gonna be one more. We gotta get another panel out here, but here, got some more arches. This is a wall that's hung a little lower. This is gonna be beans. You know, some of my panels are a little wonky. They're just, you know, old and bent, but it's okay. They'll still grow plants on them. There we go. Looks pretty awesome. What do you think? Looks like Roots and Refuge. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. God bless you. Until next time.